Up, y'all, this is Reggie here, RggiTV. This is a Talk Your Shift podcast. Of course, I got my boy Big Lou with me. Say what's up, Big Lou.
Yo, what's going on, people? How we doing, man? We back. We miss y'all, and we got a lot for y'all. So let's go.
Definitely miss y'all. We're gonna try to get y'all some more consistent pods out here. We appreciate the folks that rocking with us and hanging out with us so far, man. Of course, we talking about these Lakers Timberwolves. Game 4 tonight. The Lakers down 3-1. I feel like it's wraps for the Lakers. And I mean, I'm not trying to put all this on AR, but I do feel like it's not even his fault. I feel like they're trying to make him the spotlight, and he not really he's not there yet. You know what I mean? So he's not consistent. I mean, if you just look at his stats and the efficiency and stuff, it's tough to make it feel like, with Bron and Luka on a team, that you putting it off on like a third fiddle guy, and it's like it's not really him per se, but I just do think that they're putting a lot on him. They're kicking a lot of stuff to him, and he's not making them. You know what I mean? It's just that I think it's just that simple. I mean, what you think? What you think? That's just game 4, but they back and forth series. I just think that overall these dudes are too young, and they taking it to him right now. You know what I mean? They got no answer for Nas. I mean,
I feel like they beat them one time, which means they have the potential to beat this team, but it takes them being almost perfect every game. Which means they have to have the same recipe. They got to cook up the same recipe, and but it also means that Minnesota has to be able to make their adjustments as well. You know what I mean? And so, that's what makes it the chess match. But again, I agree with you that I think this series might be over. And even though I'm a Laker fan and I want them to still, stretch this series out, you know what I mean, by just going game by game. You
really think the Lakers, the Timberwolves is really matched up and playing their best right now? Is that what you think? 'Cause I honestly don't even think that they're playing their best, and I think they're still hanging with them.
No, I understood. But I just
You know what I mean? Like,
no, I understand what you're saying. But again, I think the Lakers sometimes get in their own way. And I think more so than anything, they are just a little small. You know what I mean? They don't really have all of the pieces. And that's really going to, come back to haunt them, that they don't have, enough size to be able to go with against, this big. You know what I mean? And so,
yeah, I mean, you talk about enough size. It's like I just don't necessarily think that their size has the athleticism that it needs to keep up with the bigs of the Nas, Nas Farid. Like, I don't think that they have an answer. I don't think that they have a person that matches up and that can give him and make him work on defense down low and bang him and get fouls on him and stuff like that. We don't even have that. Even with AD, don't get me wrong, I understand the Luka trade and all that stuff, but like with AD, you at least have somebody that could go at him. Even though AD wouldn't. But that's a whole other conversation, because AD didn't didn't pick up on challenges and stuff like that well, which is crazy with his talent. Anyway,
that is a big mismatch. Nas Reed has been like the X factor. Him and Daniels.
No, he's killing
him. And Daniels.
And McDaniels is killing him on the sense of like it's like one of those things that pops out and happens. They have guys that can guard McDaniels. I don't think they have guys for.
Well, it hasn't seemed like it as of late. You know what I mean? It seemed like the dude's been able to really kind of just do whatever he wants to, And then to your point of AR, man, I'm going to put this out there. I'm going to give my boy an opportunity later down the line to bring him on or whatever the case may be so he can defend himself.
Right.
But I've been saying, a lot about AR and, his game and what he brings to the table for the Lakers, which I believe he's a really, really talented player. But again, I agree with you that they've really been trying to push him forward as their second star, to accompany Luka, once LeBron leaves. and things like that. And I just really believe there's plenty of players that are much better than this dude. You know what I mean? One, in my opinion, case in point, and this is what I'm saying, maybe not a better player. Let me just make sure that I'm choosing my words wisely. Much more efficient, much more efficient. And I said Norman Powell is much more efficient than AR. And I still stand on that.
Right.
I
No,
really
I
believe
I
that.
get that.
You know what I mean?
You know what? But people, you know how things are today, Lou. People with aesthetics. It's Norman Powell's game. I'm like, as I'm watching these playoffs real time, I'm with you. I'm with you. I really believe what you're saying, even more so after looking at these playoffs, because you see that they both in the playoffs for one, and you see the impact. One is looks a little different, and their games look so different.
Games.
You see what I'm saying? They're almost asked. They are asked to do more. Let's just be real.
I agree. I agree.
Taking 30 shots game one of the playoffs is crazy for the third option.
Also
It's
agree.
crazy work.
That's the reason why you
Yeah.
might see yourself going fishing though. Because he shouldn't have the ball in his hands and not that much. Right
Yeah.
now, I mean, that's what I'm saying. As a coach, me and the person, and I won't say no names or anything like that, but me and this person that were having an argument, we were talking about even if we were able to coach, a certain team and who had the best, or who was the best coach, you know what I mean? Which I still think I'm a better coach than he is and have a better eye for talent, you know what I mean? So, and I'm serious, man. We really, really having a serious conversation. But he's going with AR. And I said, Norman Powell, even though I'm not a Clipper fan or whatever, is a player that I would definitely, see as more efficient or whatever the case may be, and
Yeah.
more vital piece to my puzzle than choosing AR.
I mean, it's easy to say that, especially when you talk about efficiency. It's like I can't even argue with you on that. I mean, AR. I think I was looking up the stats with my son earlier today, and he was something like game one, like 14, like or like 7 for 30 or something crazy. He shot like 30 shots. Then he was like 7 for 14 game two that they won. But then game three was somewhere around, like, I want to say like 12 for 24 or 12 for 26 or something like that. Like 26 shots, 30 shots, 25 shots for your third option. And don't get me wrong, I understand if he got it going on a night. So there's some nights when he got it going, you make sure you get him the ball. I get it. But there are a lot of these nights where I feel like Bron is really taking a major step back in regards of assertiveness in those settings. Bron has always passed, so I'm not tripping about Bron being passed and kicking the ball and making it right. It seems hella quick.
Yeah.
It seemed like he ain't even like giving them no. I'm a faint. Like he is kicking it quick. Like he don't even. It's touching and boom, it's out of there. You see what I'm saying? Like he don't even again. Maybe that's the
We
narrative
still
force.
seem a little old too, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, I mean, honestly,
yeah.
even though I know we've gotten a lot younger, but we still seem like an old team. And we got rid of
But
AD.
I think we plan. I think there's a lot to do with LeBron now. I think there's a lot to do with the mentality of LeBron.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? Like, and don't get me wrong. We love him, man. I respect what he's done. Like, come on, man. You can't knock what he's done and what kind of impact he had on the league and players and just contracts and negotiation and team player involvement, empowerment. You know what I mean? All that stuff. I give you all that, bro. I will tell you though, even for me, Bron is 2 years younger than me. We old, man. My nigga. We old, nigga. We ain't with these young niggas no more. We ain't there. And I get you can hoop. My nigga, I ain't Bron, but I can hoop. You see what I'm saying? I can hoop a little bit, but it's time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You
When
know?
you get up there, yeah, for real. No, seriously.
Even with the 25, 9, and 7.
It's
Cause you
slow.
get here, give you 25,
It's
9, and
like the
7.
game is slowed down for everybody. I mean, really, no. no matter what, no matter how you feel about it, I believe Brian is still one of those dominant figures on that's really going to demand the ball. That's not going to allow players to ever get into a rhythm or a consistent rhythm. I think it seems like every time they come down, you know what I mean? It's a different, it's a different scheme. It's a different, look. It's like they're never really doing the same thing or coming back to the right mismatches and things like that. You know what I mean? Everything is like
they're always kind of like
or throwing the
pointing.
ball
Who got?
100. It's like a
Yeah,
throwing the ball,
who got that guy?
throwing the ball 100 yards away. You know what I mean? Try
Yeah,
to get a touchdown, layup. It seemed like it's their thing. You know what I mean? But other
or
than that,
ISO. A lot of ISO.
a lot of ISO,
You know what I mean?
a lot of dribbling, man. I'm not one of those
Yeah,
people that care for dribbling that much. If you ain't got to be doing all of that dribbling, and maybe I'm just an old school coach, from that era or whatever the case may be, but
but that's what they like.
all of that damn dribbling. You know what I
He
mean?
sound like Jimmy.
And buddy, stop trying to dribble the ball. I hate that.
I was so happy when I heard Jimmy say that to Buddy Hield, and I don't really care really who it is, even from my point guard. Those who are talented enough, there's an anomaly, the Steph Currys, Kyrie Irvings, of the world,
Right.
where, you give these guys the green light. You're really not tripping. It's going to be a few mistakes here, but they bring so much to the table that you can just forgive it. Everybody else almost listen. There's
Yeah, a couple
nothing.
dribbles past that thing.
Stop it, man. We ain't got to be doing
Yeah, get it out. Get it out. Chin. No, and we if we really being real though, it's like 4 or 5 dudes in the league that really need to got the handle like that.
right,
And I mean, like
right.
enough to where we say, like, because even Luca's handle is not like that for him to be having
Oh, it's
37
not.
dribbles
It is
in a
not.
possession.
It is
Yeah,
not.
it's crazy. Don't get me wrong. He does have the herky jerky, slow, fast pace that allows him to get in certain positions to gain advantage and be able to kind of get his shot off over certain defenders because he's not as athletic and fast as other people. So he's developed that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Which requires dribbling. It's the only way that his shit don't work off the ball
I think
without
certain
the ball.
players that I would just say that need their dribble to, whatever, it's like Brunson. You know what I mean? He does like a lot with dribbling and using the ball and using his body to create, contact, things like that. But it takes a lot
Right.
of his little dribbling away or whatever to kind of set things up. You know what I mean? He's one of those people that's just like, even though, again, he's not one of those players that I believe do all the flash, or
Right.
he's a serviceable point guard that does what's necessary, to get the job done for the most part. AR,
Yeah, I honestly, don't think he one of them ones either. Your handle not like that. To really be honest, like he's got a nice game, but your handle's not really like that.
no, it's
Like
not. Yeah,
it's really
it
not.
wasn't him. It was just when I say over dribbling,
Right,
his over dribbling is a little bit different because it's kind of like he needs to use it to his advantage or whatever because
yeah.
it's harder for him to create a shot.
He reminds me, uh, not to the same like that. Not that their games are alike, but a little bit like a Steve Nash. Steve Nash had to dribble around.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It didn't
And he kind of
work
used
for
his
his game.
dribble to create. Yeah, exactly. That's what I
Yeah,
mean.
but you needed more. You needed more dribbles in order for your thing to work.
That's
You know
what
what I
I
mean?
mean for
Yeah,
Brunson.
no, that's what I said. They didn't play it like, but I get where you're going with it. Where the analogy kind of works. It's like kind of even that thing where you dribble underneath the rim and come back around and then do a little fadeaway. You
Because
know
you
what I mean? Like,
still need,
yeah,
you haven't created it yet. You still need a few more
yeah,
dribbles to run into, whatever, or for somebody to
right.
run into you. You know what I mean?
And that's what I was saying. Like how their stuff. Steve Nash kind of worked a little bit, but not so much. They don't work off the ball. Jalen Brunson doesn't work off the ball. Luca doesn't work off the ball. He doesn't do any work off the ball. None. Zero work. He doesn't do anything. He may set a screen for somebody else. Maybe. But there is no creating to get himself, cutting, doing anything. He reminds me of my son, Ryan. my oldest son when he played in middle school and early high school. It's like almost like to get the ball back, he gonna run to almost the half court to get the ball back. Like go somewhere else, bro. Like what do you got to get the ball at the top. So
make sure.
Yeah, but not only that, you're gonna make sure you get it in the setting to where you're at the top, where you can do all your, you know what I mean, like all your dribbling and all, like you can't do that underneath the basket. If you cut and get the ball underneath the basket, it's no dribbling. It's like, you know what I mean. There's no show. There's no crossover, hezzy fadeaway. You see
People
that?
don't like it
Yeah,
when there's no show.
yeah. People get pissed off about that shit real quick. You know what I mean? Yeah, so that definitely leads us into that conversation when we talk about Bron. I know we went into the playoffs, so like we both gave our thoughts on the Lakers. It's a wrap for them, especially if they come out in any way remotely anything other than game two, it's over. And I mean game two from tip to the buzzer of the fourth quarter. If they not, yeah, we might as well go and
Right,
let them young
yeah, but
boys
it
go
looks
ahead
like
and
it's
go
over.
move on it.
It looks like it's
Yeah,
over
go
for
let
those
them
guys.
young boys move on and play Curry and them or them young Rockets. You know what I mean? Let them go and do their thing. But speaking of Bron, we touched a little bit on how he has an imprint on the league. How sometimes that can be considered like a little bit negative, a little bit like I won't even say negative, like daunting, like something to live up to. You gotta be in the same locker room with Bron, so you feel timid. Maybe you don't shoot the same. Maybe you don't have the same vigor, on your keys, on reading, on rotations, on defense, because you just you feel pressure or you feel a spotlight or whatever it is. I mean, I wanted to talk a little bit. I know you mentioned talking a little bit about your thoughts on Bron, especially as we think about maybe possibly closing out the season. What you think about him moving forward and what we should do?
Well, again, I think Bron brought, a lot of excitement to the city. I'm gonna be honest, man. You know what I'm saying? And you know what? This is Talk Your Shiv. And there ain't no cap on this show. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna really, really throw something out there and just say it because I'm gonna be real. I did not want LeBron on the Lakers.
Right,
I was
right.
a
Yeah, I
major,
remember that.
major Kobe fan. You know what I mean? Die hard,
Right.
Kobe
We were
fan.
both of us
You
said
know,
the same thing.
I was,
Yeah, we could do it with or without him.
you know, before that, the Nick Van Exels and,
Right.
and all of, and so as far
Eddie
as,
George. I mean, not Eddie George. Eddie
yeah, but
Jones
as far as favorite
and
Lakers on the, whatever the case may be, I mean, those
yeah.
were like my favorite Lakers. Magic, Nick Van Exel, and Kobe. You know what I mean? I did not want LeBron. I was like from those old school where you
Hey,
don't
hey,
want
hey, you didn't fuck with Chanel 3, nigga?
him. Oh, come on, what the hell?
Hey, no disrespect to Chanel, bro. I don't got no problem with you out there. Hey, ain't no disrespect. Hey, that's actually a big ups to you that I know who you are. A lot of people don't even know you, bro. So don't take it as if you see this, if you happen to see this. But that was just a little inside shit for my brothers. But go ahead.
But yeah, man, I think Bron, I think it's really, really showing that things are coming to a close for Bron. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think that he might play another year or two because he still wants, I think it's really now, that he wanted to play with his son and now he got that opportunity or whatever. It's more maybe setting in and he wants to play with his other son or whatever. And so
yeah.
I think he's going to maybe try to hold out, and wait, which means we're going to be seeing this kind of basketball until that happens. You know what I mean? Unfortunately. You know what I
You
mean?
sound, you sound, yeah, you sound very disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, seriously. It's just like that's what you can look for when you really know what's going on. And it's just unfortunate because I believed that we could have got a lot of pieces for Bron. See, I don't believe you got to have big names or whatever the case may be. Because look, here it is. It's big LeBron James, and we down 3-1. His ass might be sitting out. You know what I mean? So what did it matter that we had a player at that caliber when you still got teams like Indiana, still playing, Minnesota still playing. Though they don't have anybody, bigger than Bron. You know what I mean?
Houston,
Houston,
still
still in it. You know what I mean? And so shorthanded, Warriors. And I got something I'm gonna bring up that have something to do with a player from the Warriors, you know what I mean, and a player from the Lakers. We're gonna talk about that a little bit later too. You know what I mean? So y'all stay
okay.
tuned.
Okay.
But again, going back to Bron, I thought we could got some major young pieces for Bron or whatever. Shop him and AD, and the Lakers would have some young bulls. Now we could talk about what that would look like, if it were to really happen or whatever. But
Right.
man, I'm just ready for a new era. And it doesn't seem like the pieces that we're putting around him right now are championship worthy. Go ahead.
So just jumping in, being real, don't 100% disagree with you on that. I slightly go away from it because I feel like the basketball we're currently seeing is because of who we receive. Luka has a lot to do with the Bron that we're seeing right now, and let me get to the point that I'm making about that. Luka being so ball dominant and being so heavy emphasis on I gotta dribble, I gotta figure out, I gotta initiate the offense, I gotta do it, and slow dribble. Like even with LeBron, it's not like that slow, that pace. It's a very daunting. He gets the ball across barely at 16 most of the time. A lot of times it's knocking 16 and they could get this nigga
Right.
if they wanted to. Because they don't call that in the NBA. They don't call 8-second violation a lot. You see what I'm saying? But they could. They'll be crossing right at 16. So which means you just got to cross. You're not even starting to get into anything yet. So you're not getting into nothing until 13, 12. By this time, you're already at 20, 22 dribbles, 23 dribbles. And we haven't initiated anything. Then everybody spreads moves. Everybody just moves. Nobody's cutting. Nobody's back screening. And sometimes they do run plays. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they don't ever run plays, but like I said, when it gets down to crucial getting buckets, a lot of times you see the same thing. You know what I mean? Like the crucial times. I'm not talking about what they run throughout the game. I know they run plays, a lot of stuff. Their favorite play is one of these down screen plays. I get it. So, but the point that I'm making is, I know that a lot of what we're seeing from that is because we have Luca here, and Luca needs certain things in order to be successful. And a lot of that is Bron can't beat Bron and Luca beat Luca.
Right.
I said that when they got here.
Right.
It ain't happening. So Bron has to be this.
But a lot of people
Bron
said
has
that.
to.
A lot of people said that, wondering how they was going
Yeah,
to fit.
we see it. Like it works for what it works for. But Bron can't be Bron. He can't do the normal stuff that he do. You see what I'm saying? Like because the normal stuff he do, he initiates it. He has to run the floor now and run to the top key. And I mean, which is fine. He's 40. You see what I'm saying? But I'm just being real. That's the way that looks when you that 25, 9, and 7 don't look the same when Luca is initiating the offense. That 29, 10, and 6 or 20, 10, and 8 when he's doing it. It just looks a little different. You know what I mean? But I can't say that I disagree with you about the whole trading thing. I mean, it would be hard from a Lakers perspective, not having a big name, being a big Kobe fan, Shaq coming here. We haven't always having big stars. You know what I mean? Like we always in my lifetime. I mean, I'm an '80s baby, raised in the '90s. I mean, the '90s Lakers. Don't get me wrong. We had our years of, like I said, like the Nick Van Exel, Eddie George. I mean, Eddie Jones, Shaq, early Shaq years when he first got here. Cedric, well, not Cedric. What the fuck was that name? I can't remember. Cedric Sabalas. And like, we didn't been through the trenches.
Glenn Rice's of the world.
Yeah, Glenn Rice's and Samaki Walker's, even to the Smush Parkers around this mug. You know what I mean? So, we done been there, you know what I mean? So I understand that aspect of it, but for the most part, it's more so just understanding like, can the Lakers ever win a championship without having a star? And I don't know if we as a fan base are ready to even embrace how that looks. And I know that some people like yourself maybe, but majority of Laker fans ain't ever used to that. Period. And don't have that perspective and thought process on it. Like, nah, you got to have somebody in here, especially for just the whole Hollywood thing. Glitz and glam. For the stars not coming out to see Tyrese Halliburton, sorry. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You bring that motherfucker to LA, it ain't gonna look the same. And he got a good, decent. I don't like his game. I'm just being honest. I mean, and that's a whole nother conversation. But he got a decent game. Clearly, he leading his team. They're in the playoffs. They're winning. I mean, but if he come to LA, it don't look the same.
Right.
Even like the Zach LaVines of the world and all that stuff. Like they come to LA, you different in Chicago. You come to LA, that don't work here, bro.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you got to be a certain caliber of person. So all I'm saying is we have to be ready for that as a organization, as a fan base, to be in a situation where we're ready to embrace that. We have to know that it brings championships, and that's what
It's got
the
3
uncertainty is.
championships. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, you know what I mean, and
Definitely.
that's the thing with us because we know a star has the great potential to do so. We know that, and that's just based on our
But I
history and
think LA
experience.
is always going
All
to
of our
attract stars, but it doesn't mean you. But you got to have the
we
right.
say that, but
But you got to.
it's had its struggles.
But yeah, that's true too. But you got to attract the right star too at the right time.
That's true.
I think
Yeah,
basketball and
because we
football
picked up a lot
are
of
the
the
same
wrong. We
thing. You
picked up
got to
some
know.
wrong ones too.
You got to know when to hold them and to fold them. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, and I think right now it's time to. It's time to.
That might be true. Like I said, I don't know. I got to see Game 5. I got to see how they come out defensively on Game 5 for me to really call it like that. You and me, we might be on the same page
Yeah, I
with
think
that.
we. Yeah, yeah. You know what I mean? I think it's. I think it's time. I don't even if they win Game 5. I'm saying this type of consistent basketball, as far as winning us championships, when you're going against the OKCs, when you're going against the Boston Celtics, things like that, this stuff is just, it's not going to cut it. And so you have to be able to neutralize those type of teams, and we just not built. You know what I mean? And I think Bron is a big piece or a big part of that on why we're not as athletic and as agile as some of these other teams that are still, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. I mean, I guess that speaks me to the teaser. We talking about Brian. We talking about his impact. We talk about obviously him being great, him being one of the greatest to ever play, and being in a situation where now we talking about legacies. You know what I mean? We talking about people being in what not necessarily a Russian war situation, but more so, where does that person lie?
Mhm.
In the situation of who was the best, whoever did it, and that conversation always only includes two people. You know what I mean? It's always Mike and LBJ. It's always Mike and LeBron. It's never anybody else. Even people dismiss Kobe with five in between. He got five in between Mike and LeBron.
Yeah,
Bron got
they
four,
do.
Mike got six, Kobe got five, and people still never even consider him based on efficiency, I'm sure. You know what I mean? Like based on him having to shoot a lot of shots to get points and not really being a passer or whatever it is. Curry. Still being in the playoffs. He's got four. Don't forget Corey got the quiet four. You know what I mean? Because KD had to do with a lot. A couple of those things. You know what I mean? But at the same time, he got four. He got four. And that's the same as Bron. Like you said, two of those against Bron. So your question to me before we started the show was like, hey, Curry wins five. What we doing? How we having this conversation, bro? Because when we think about having a conversation about GOATs, people want to bring up their basis of reason behind it. Like whether it's championships, whether it's individual accolades, whether it's team success, whether it's what I mean, whatever it is. But this dude's on the greatest team ever, even though they didn't win the still got the best record ever noted, ever recorded.
Right.
So that's one up on Mike. Although Mike won finals that year and finals MVP that year.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? But again, nonetheless, Mike didn't do that. And of course, LeBron with all the stats, and people talk about, longevity being a big part of why he's able to obtain a lot of that stuff. But a lot of people could argue, shit, he has 3 Hall of Fame careers. Some people could argue that. You know what I mean? 3 different teams. If you really think about it. this Lakers stint could be held in his own. A lot of people don't go to the finals, win one at any point in their whole career, but he's done that at every team he went to. You know what I mean? So it's like people have that argument. What say you? If Steph wins his fifth, is he just automatically over Bron, regardless of the 50,000 and all that shit?
Well, yes, is.
He's
You ask
over.
me.
It's over.
If you ask me, we're now definitely having the conversation. And if you were to ask me my choice, I'm going to give Steph Curry the nod of winning LeBron's era. I mean, I have to give it to him. I mean, the guy, it's not like he didn't play you, at least, like you said, twice in those championships or whatever the case may be. And it would be unexcusable, for me or irresponsible, for me to not give credit to him to win 5 championships in the LeBron era. You know what I mean? And winning those 5 championships in less time or whatever the case may be, which means because he's only played, about 16?
He came in 09.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, I definitely would say he gets the nod from me.
That's a big one, man.
It is a big one, man, but I got to look at it like this. We gave credit, we give credit to LeBron for winning championships, even though I know, like you said, he did it at a few different teams, but it was a little bit different for me, to move to take his talents to a team like Miami, where you got Bosh leaving his team. It was a little bit different. It's different when one major player goes and links up with another star, but when 2 stars leave together to play with another star. So let's put the scenario on not just LeBron, but LeBron and Bosh taking their talents to go play with D-Wade. It sounds different than it does when we're just saying LeBron leaving to go play on another team. It's just a really,
Yeah,
if you
I
go ahead.
get it. I think the intricacies of those things is different because we talk about playing devil's advocate. You could also say KD joining the Warriors, having all stars, all 3 all stars already is equivalent.
And again, we've had this conversation as well. I would still say LeBron's situation is different because there is no way they could have done anything with that situation of those players who were drafted to that team. Again, and
Yeah,
we also looked it
but
up.
Lou, but there's still all stars when KD goes there though.
That were all-stars previous, especially in the Mark Jackson era. None of them.
No, they weren't not all stars in the Mark Jackson era, but when KD elected to go there, they are 3 all
But
stars.
soon as Mark Jackson left, those same kids, they won it. They won it.
Yeah, man, but I'm saying I understand that they got drafted there. That's just like saying, like you can't help where you get drafted. I get that, but you can't help what kind of the player you develop into. And they happen to luck up and
They,
get 3 all stars that develop in the 3 superstars.
you know what I think?
So what?
I think I give more credit to Steve Kerr and the system in which those guys played in, just like we would give credit to Phil and the triangle. You know what I mean? Like we don't.
Well, why? You think they wouldn't have been all stars without Steve Kerr?
No, it's not that they wouldn't have been all-stars without Steve Kerr, but I just think as they were good as they were, partly because of how he ran the team. You know what I mean? Him being this player's coach that they kind of really embraced or whatever and buying into his system. I think that's really more so what I'm saying.
I mean that that may very well be true as far
I mean,
as
because they
Steve
really want
Kerr's
to play for
system.
that dude, man. They'll run through a
Yeah,
brick
but
wall for that
his
guy.
staff and his system may have brought things better out of them. Okay, I'm not gonna argue about that. I guess, but the point that I'm making is whatever it brought out of them had came to fruition already. They had already became that which we had known them to be.
True.
They're already there, and then you go get the second best player in the NBA, or first, depending on who you talking to. You know what I mean?
Right.
And definitely the best scorer probably we've ever seen.
Right. Did D Wade
The
have
most
one?
efficient player
Did D Wade have a
we've ever
champion?
seen.
Did D Wade have a championship before Bron got there?
D Wade had a championship before LeBron got there, but he also had an All Star. He didn't get one before he had an All Star.
But I guess what I'm trying to say is, listen to what I'm saying is, and then you get two more. You had already won. I mean, so it just
Right, but I'm
everybody's trying
saying
to
so.
be
We
on,
all said, but mine's is more.
not
I got more All Stars.
getting
That's only 3 All Stars.
understood. But what I'm trying to say is, but these all stars that we're talking about were not on the same level as those
Oh,
caliber.
come on now.
They weren't. They weren't. They were
Don't
not.
do that,
None of
Lou.
those
If we
guys.
all make the All
None
Star
of those
team,
guys could. None of those guys were who Bosh was on his team. You couldn't match up Clay or Draymond. Let's just say this, Reg. Was Draymond the same if you switched him with Chris Bosh on Toronto? No.
not fair.
It's two completely.
Not fair.
Wait, hold on. Let me finish though.
Not
Let me
fair.
finish. Let's put Clay in there. Let's switch
Yeah.
Clay for Bosh.
If Clay's in Toronto, he's the man.
I just don't think he would have done what Bosh was able to do. They would have just
I understand that. I understand that's your belief system. But I'm saying to you, if Clay is the number one option in Toronto, he's the man. He's scoring 20, 25 a game, 30 a game. If he's the number one option, he did that damn near as the number what, 2 option?
I think
I guess he was the number 2.
I think Clay on that team, they would have needed more. You know what I mean?
I'm not saying that they wouldn't have added a second piece, but Clay as the number one option does what Bosch does in Toronto. They didn't do shit. He would have did exactly what they fucking did. He would have averaged shit. He would have been an All Star. He would have averaged 30, and they would have did nothing, and they would have been fucking the 12th seed, just like he was when he was there.
Yeah, but nobody else. Like I said, Draymond wouldn't even. That's the reason why I can't.
No, but Draymond. The reason why I said Draymond's not fair because Draymond's not the same type of player. Draymond's not asked to score. Both Bosch and Clay were asked to score. That's why I asked to use him in the analogy. They were asked to be scorers. Draymond's not asked to score. So he's an all-star for other reasons, but he's not asked to score.
Reg, it's like this is what I'm trying to say. The Warriors are like, I mean, because they created these large names for themselves or whatever the case may be, we give them more credit than the way in which I'm trying to explain it. But these big three are really more of like the big brothers to the other three on the Warriors, man. The names just don't even add up to me. Okay, LeBron,
I get what you're saying.
LeBron,
I get because they're all scorers. They're all
yeah,
scorers. I get
LeBron,
it.
Curry. Okay, 1A, 1B. I give you that. Then we got to go D Wade and Clay. You know what I'm saying? I think D Wade in his prime would have ate his ass up. You see what I'm saying?
Okay. So so
I
then
just
so then
and then
so
Bosh
so
and
so let's
Draymond
cancel out the
is
two
just
then.
not even a
Let's
question.
cancel out the two. Cancel out the two. The two in Miami that he got, I'm canceling the two you got with KD.
Say that again.
They cancel out. The two Miami LeBron got in Miami, the two you got
Which
with
is
KD.
why I gotta count Curry's championships with KD. That's all I'm saying. If LeBron get credit from Miami and nobody brings it up,
No. So Lou, what I'm saying is we're canceling them out. So I'm gonna cancel the two championships in Miami out. They wash each other out.
Right.
So now Curry only has the one against Toronto. I think no, which one was it? He has the first one they won. I think he only has two then.
He got
He would
two.
only
He
have
only
two.
had two, and LeBron got
And
two.
then Brown would have two.
Yeah.
I wonder if these fucking balloons are gonna be on my video. You see those
I
balloons?
thought you was doing that on purpose.
No, I guess every time I throw a two up, it's fucking balloons. That's
Crazy.
it. I noticed it the
It
last
looked
time.
like
I'm like, man, is that gonna be on
looked
the
like you
video?
like peace. But I
I
think it's just
guess.
you though.
That's whack. I'm gonna leave it in there though. I don't
Yeah,
give a
I
fuck.
mean, it is what it is.
No, man, but like I said, I understand it, man. It's a good argument. And I just feel like being the devil's advocate. I feel where you going. You know, when you talk about if he win in fifth and Brian got four, you know what I mean? I get the argument. I get especially like how they did it. It looks so different. It looks more attainable for the average person. The way Curry did it, the shooting range, him being a smaller human, of just being more attainable, more personable, more of a normal figure. Nobody feels like they can be LeBron. Like nobody can be 6'8", 6'9", 275. You know what I mean?
And
But you
more
can learn to
so,
shoot.
and he did it. And even though it may not sound like you may understand what I'm trying to say, and Curry, just like, especially if he gave it a win another one, he did it so quietly in the LeBron era under the Michael Jordan conversations with LeBron, with the Kobe, with, whatever the case should be. It's like, then you got this little 6-footer over here that got his little 5 championships. Oh, yeah, with the Magics or whatever, who also has 5 or whatever. You got little
Yeah,
Curry over here, and this fool got 5 championships and still on top, just like LeBron. Just like
yeah. No,
LeBron.
I mean it's a valid argument, man. It's a valid one. I feel like it is an ongoing thing. I feel like we could do this all night. You know what I mean? Like because obviously, that one championship would separate them. But there's so many different nuances that in their careers of how they obtain certain things that we can make as arguing points. To justify why maybe one person goes over the other one. But I wouldn't be mad, just so I know that until the people know, I wouldn't be mad either way, bro. I wouldn't be mad if somebody felt some kind of way about Curry. Curry has an affinity in my heart just because it's the best shooter I've ever seen in my fucking life.
Yeah.
Period. He's the best shooter in the world. And it's not even a close second. Nobody's even really even close. And I think that is just something so amazing. The skill and the art. I mean, it's one thing to be 280 pounds and run past everybody and lay the ball up. And don't get me wrong, nigga, that's a special thing too. To be that big and move that fast, and with that much grace and athleticism, as far as what LeBron does. But the art of shooting, man, it's undeniable, bro. And I think that that's why the league is went. He made the league. He made kids shoot threes, bro. I'm a referee. He made kids. He changed it. He changed
He
it.
changed it.
LeBron came in and people love him, and people and don't get me wrong, he did a lot of things great. He did a lot of things great, like rebounding, passing, vision, IQ, point scoring, clutch buckets, playoff moments. He's done a lot of things. He does a lot of things great. But Curry is the best ever
This is what I
at shooting the basketball.
right. Not
You know
not
what I
even
mean?
that. Not even that. I believe that Michael Jordan and Steph Curry affect the minds of children like no other players ever lived.
Yeah. I look, man. On that note, I'm gonna get out of here, man, because I honestly don't even really feel like there's no argument with that.
Mike, and how he affected us when we were kids, down to the shoe, the commercials, the Wheaties boxes,
Yeah,
all of
I
that.
mean Curry's closer to that.
And Curry, the way what kids think about him,
Yeah, but not just what kids think
not
about him,
how they want to be him.
how they want to be him and how they want to emulate the game.
Yes, like him.
Yeah, so I agree. I can't argue with that. I don't think that people grew. I don't think I did it. I was in my room and being honest, I was in my room comparing the sky hook to the fadeaway. because that's what it was, nigga. I grew up knowing Kareem was the best at the time, and that was the move. Kareem and Magic was the move, nigga. The hook was the move, and I thought it was Bub, but at the same time, it was like a comparison thing of the new wave versus what the old wave
I'm gonna
was.
give your boy some love, and then we can get out of here too, man. As far as affecting kids, I think his was a little bit
AI,
smaller, or whatever the case may be. But no, I think Allen Iverson did too. You know what I
that's what I
mean?
said. AI. I knew you was about to say it. Yeah,
Yeah, I think AI did.
AI was off the court. And I think that was a lot. AI is really what I think that where people started to pay attention to the streetwear, and I think that he's probably one of the most influential in
Yeah, he
regards to that.
definitely, yes, definitely.
They changed NBA rules because of that guy and what he wore.
And
You
I
know what I
think the
mean?
whole and one era, all of that and one and all of that stuff like that, that was those guys. You know what I mean? Those guys in and
But it
one,
was the
they still want to
it
emulate it,
was
but
the
they wanted to emulate Iverson AI.
AI, but it was also just like how he carried himself in the press conferences. I mean, how he dressed on the sideline. I think that a lot of times people, a lot of lifestyle clothes and shoes came out after that era. They went to the formal dress code for the NBA after AI.
Right.
No more do rags after AI. You know what I mean? So yeah, I agree with you on that one, man. He definitely didn't win enough, but that's a good one, man. Honestly, you can go either way depending on who you are, what kind of fan you are, But before we get out of here, we always want to check in with the people. We love y'all. Mental health check in, making sure y'all understand that y'all know this is a place that we can go and chop it up about whatever it is. Today's topics are what today's topics are, but we can always talk about reality in life and things that we're going through. So we love y'all. We appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate
Appreciate
y'all for
y'all. Y'all go
tapping
talk
in.
to somebody, give somebody a
Yeah.
hug. Get a hug if you need one. You know what I mean? Don't keep
Check
nothing
in,
in.
call the
You know
people.
what I mean?
Yeah, call somebody. Yeah.
Yeah, do that, man. Whatever it is, man, don't keep it in.
Don't keep it in, man. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We'll see y'all on the next one, man. We out.